Survivor, not victim, reclaiming your power in a world that tests your strength. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I want to share some powerful insights from my recent conversation with Hernesha McGhee on the Soft Girl Era podcast. Hernesha isn't just a guest, she's a revolutionary force whose wisdom on resilience has transformed countless lives, including my own. Her work in community building and empowerment has created ripples of healing that have touched thousands of Black women across the country. What makes Hernisha truly extraordinary is her ability to distill complex emotional journeys into actionable wisdom that changes not just how we think, but how we live. Our discussion reveals something profound that deserves this platform tonight: the revolutionary power of seeing yourself as a survivor rather than a victim. This distinction isn't just semantic, it's everything. When I sat down with Hernesha, the energy she brought to our conversation was palpable. There was something in her voice, a quiet confidence, a grounded certainty that immediately communicated this woman has been through storms and emerged not just intact but illuminated. You are a survivor, not a victim, she told me. Those 6 words hung in the air between us, simple yet seismic. Think about it for a moment. When you identify as a victim, the narrative centers around what happened to you. But when you claim the identity of survivor, the story pivots to what happens through you, because of you, despite what tried to break you. This shift from seeing yourself as someone who things happen to someone who happens to things changes everything. It's about reclaiming your power, your narrative, and ultimately your future. I want to pause here and really let that sink in. Many of us, especially Black women between 38 and 55, have spent years in survival mode. We've led teams, raised families, held down households, carried communities on our backs. We've done it all while navigating systems that weren't designed with us in mind. And somewhere along the way, many of us internalized the idea that our value lies in our ability to endure, to push through, to keep going no matter what. But Hernesha's message challenges that notion. It asks us to consider, what if survival isn't just about endurance? What if it's about transformation? During our conversation, Hernesha outlined 3 principles that form the foundation of this survivor mindset. I want to share them with you tonight. First, own your story. Your experiences, good or bad, are part of your journey. Claim them. Don't let them claim you. When we own our stories, we take back control of the narrative. We get to decide what those experiences mean about us, about our worth, about our potential. We get to determine how they shape our future. This isn't about toxic positivity or pretending that difficult experiences weren't painful. It's about refusing to let those experiences define you in ways that limit your growth. Second, leverage community. You don't have to do it alone. The Black professional community is rich with resources, networks, and events designed to lift you up. Hernisha emphasized this point repeatedly. Survivors understand the power of connection. They know when to reach out, when to ask for help, when to surround themselves with people who can see their potential, even when they temporarily lose sight of it themselves. And third, take actionable steps. Empowerment isn't just a feeling, it's a practice. Attend conferences, seek mentorship, invest in your growth, make moves that reflect your survivor status. This principle is where the rubber meets the road. It's not enough to think differently. We must act differently. We must make choices that align with our survivor identity rather than our victim story. Let me share a powerful example that Hernisha discussed during our conversation. The Roadmap to Billions Conference is an annual event created by Black Women Talk Tech, exclusively for Black women founders and their supporters. It takes place in New York City and focuses on providing insights into scaling businesses, accessing funding, and building networks within the tech industry. Now, consider the context. Black women entrepreneurs face systemic barriers in accessing venture capital and scaling their businesses. Many feel isolated in male dominated tech spaces. These are real challenges, real obstacles that could easily feed into a victim narrative. But instead of accepting exclusion, three Black women tech entrepreneurs recognized the lack of representation at major tech conferences and created their own solution. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for the existing system to make space for them. They built something new. The conference provides targeted workshops on fundraising strategies and pitch coaching sessions led by successful founders who have navigated these challenges themselves. Attendees leave with actionable plans for growth and expanded professional networks. What began as a response to exclusion has grown into one of the most influential gatherings for Black women in tech entrepreneurship. It empowers attendees to see themselves as capable leaders rather than outsiders or victims of circumstance. This is what Hernesha means when she talks about the shift from victim to survivor. It's about saying, yes, these barriers exist. Yes, these challenges are real. And yes, I am going to find a way forward anyway. It's about creating the opportunities that aren't handed to you. It's about building the tables when you're not invited to sit at existing ones. It's about recognizing that your power doesn't come from the absence of obstacles, but from your response to them. During our conversation, Hernesha shared a powerful affirmation that has guided her journey. I am not defined by what happens to me, but by how I respond to what happens. Let that resonate for a moment. I am not defined by what happens to me, but by how I respond to what happens. This is the essence of the survivor mindset. It acknowledges the reality of our challenges without giving them the power to determine our destiny. Now, I want to be clear about something. Embracing a survivor identity doesn't mean you never feel pain, anger, or grief. It doesn't mean you pretend that injustice doesn't exist or that systemic barriers aren't real. Survivors feel deeply, they acknowledge wounds, they recognize injustice, but they refuse to be paralyzed by these realities. They refuse to let external circumstances dictate their internal worth. They refuse to surrender their agency even when their options seem limited. As Hernesha so eloquently put it during our conversation, being a survivor means you honor your wounds without being defined by them. This perspective aligns beautifully with what we explore on the Soft Girl Era podcast. Many of our listeners are high achieving Black women who have spent years in survival mode. They've done it all, carried it all, been it all for everyone else, and now they're exhausted. They're ready to shift from constantly grinding to finally grounding in joy, peace, softness, and self prioritization. And here's where Hernesha's message takes on even deeper significance. Recognizing yourself as a survivor rather than a victim is actually a crucial step in this journey toward softness. Because when you see yourself as a survivor, you give yourself permission to rest. You understand that your value isn't tied to your productivity or your ability to endure hardship. You recognize that taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. Survivors know that healing isn't a luxury, it's essential. They understand that boundaries aren't barriers to connection, they're foundations for authentic relationships. They recognize that saying no isn't a rejection of others, it's an affirmation of self. During our conversation, Hernesha shared a powerful question that she encourages everyone to ask themselves. How am I learning to be soft in a world that taught me survival? This question invites us to consider how we might honor our resilience while also creating space for vulnerability, rest, and joy. It challenges us to redefine strength not as the ability to endure hardship indefinitely, but as the wisdom to know when to push forward and when to pause, when to carry burdens and when to set them down. As I stand here today, I'm reminded of something profound that happens when we shift from victim to survivor mentality. We don't just change our own lives, we change the lives of everyone around us. We create new possibilities, not just for ourselves, but for generations to come. I think about the three women who founded the Roadmap to Billions conference. Their refusal to accept victimhood has now created pathways to success for hundreds of Black women entrepreneurs. Their survivor mindset didn't just transform their individual journeys, it's transforming entire industries. That's the power of this shift. It's not just personal, it's communal. It's not just present, it's future altering. So I challenge you today, look at your life. Look at the stories you tell yourself about your challenges, your setbacks, your wounds. Are you narrating from a place of victimhood or from a place of survival? When you encounter obstacles, do you see them as evidence that the world is against you or as opportunities to demonstrate just how unstoppable you truly are? I challenge you to practice conscious language. Pay attention to how you talk about your experiences, both to others and to yourself. Are you using language that emphasizes your agency or your victimhood? Small shifts in language can lead to profound shifts in perspective. I challenge you to celebrate your resilience. Take time to acknowledge not just what you've been through, but how you've moved through it. Recognize the strength, creativity, and determination that have brought you to this moment. And I challenge you to surround yourself with survivor stories. Seek out narratives of resilience and transformation. Connect with communities that emphasize growth rather than grievance, possibility rather than limitation. Remember what Hernesha said: you are a survivor, not a victim. This isn't just a statement of fact, it's a declaration of intent. It's a commitment to yourself and to your future. It's a promise to view your life through the lens of possibility rather than limitation. Today, right now, I invite you to make that commitment, to step fully into your survivor identity, to claim your power, your agency, your right to define your own story. Because when you do, you don't just change your narrative, you change your destiny. You don't just survive, you thrive. And in your thriving, you create pathways for others to follow. That's not just survival, that's legacy. Thank you